In my former life, upon winning 10 million, my parents insisted on embarking on a journey upon learning the news, declaring they had never ventured far from home in their lives and that as a daughter, I ought to fulfill my filial obligations. After viewing a tour group introduction on television, my younger brother insisted on traveling to the Arctic to witness the authentic ice and snow realm. I advised against it, proposing that Sonia would be perfect this year due to the chilly weather. Yet they disregarded my counsel, insisting on going and accusing me of mere unwillingness to spend money. Bowing to their wishes, we joined a tour group bound for the Arctic, only to encounter a global blizzard. As the apocalypse descended and all prioritized self-preservation, I was framed and banished from the tour group by them, who also confiscated all my equipment. In the end, I was Dongser, froze to death. In a pitiful state, reborn, I resolved to protect myself. Since they so coveted the Arctic, I would send them there while I stayed to savor hot pot and watch television, observing their fates unfold one by one. Mom, let us take an Arctic tour. Sister has just won the grand prize. Let's go. My brother tugged at Mother's arm, swaying and pleading insistently. Mother tenderly stroked my brother's head and turned to look at me. Once more this pattern. Mother awaited my response, though she harbored no real desire to visit the Arctic. In my past life I pitted my parents, and with Mother's rheumatic legs, I deemed the Arctic entirely unsuitable. When I urged my brother to choose Sonia, he stubbornly refused. He began rolling on the floor in a tantrum, accusing me of selfishness and disdain for our parents after winning the prize. In a surge of anger I hauled him up, accidentally giving him a shove. But Mother, her son, could not bear to see him aggrieved. She struck me across the face instead, glaring furiously and hissing, "Where your brother wishes to go, we shall go. At your age, why quarrel with your brother? Think you're invincible because of a prize?" Father, who doted on his solely family heir, shoved me to the ground shouting, "Without me you'd be nothing. Your money is mine by right." My heart chilled, yet I scoffed inwardly. This time I would naturally honor my brother's wish. I smiled and said, "Mother, if little brother desires the Arctic, let us go. Besides, it is high time our family embarked on a proper journey." "Mother, I believe it a fine idea." Upon hearing my words, my brother clung to Mother and renewed his pleading. Unable to resist her chubby son's entreaties, Mother, who had hesitated, now regarded him with tender adoration. "His wishes are command. Wherever he desires, we shall go. Travel is for our son's joy, and we may also gain knowledge alongside him." Father hurried to cajole my brother, then glanced at me and said, "Xiaopeng, make haste to prepare everything. After raising you so long, it is time to demonstrate your filial devotion." "Very well," I replied with a smile. "I shall prepare thoroughly." However, I would not join them on this Arctic journey. I had no wish to die again. My brother wished to book a tour group, but they would only focus on enjoyment, leaving all preparations to me. This task naturally fell to me. I meticulously selected and booked a tour group for them, packed their luggage, and handled all document procedures. 3 days before departure, I handed over all items to my parents and said with a strained expression, "Mom and Dad, I won't be joining this time. After all, prize money isn't infinite. I happen to have a business trip. Please go and enjoy yourselves with little brother as my filial gift." Mother furrowed her brow, visibly astonished, and for the first time, took my hand with a flicker of concern. "Xiaopan, you're not coming? Weren't we supposed to go as a family? Besides, one less person won't matter." Though momentarily showing some conscience, she released my hand and instantly changed tone. "People need to earn an honest living. You go to work, focus on your job, don't slack off just because of a prize. This money should stay with your brother. Boys need savings and you shop so often, you can miss this trip." Father smoked incessantly beside her, coughing violently with each puff. I nearly urged him to cut down but held back. I remembered how his smoking had hospitalized him multiple times, each occasion seeing me tenderly by his side. I had repeatedly advised him to quit, even buying alternatives, yet was met with nothing but scolding, accusations of unfilial and ingrate, along with my gifts thrown out as he demanded cigarettes. This time I would indulge him. Maintaining my facade as the dutiful daughter, I said, "Everything's ready, including documents. Just arrive on time. The tour group will pick you up. I've left your numbers." I finished in one breath, used the business trip excuse, packed and flew to Sonia. Heading to the luxury villa I'd pre-rented, I intended to savor the jackpot fully. Who would slave away after winning such fortune? Moreover, a global blizzard would strike in a week. In my past life, following them to the Arctic, caught in a blizzard en route, stranded midway. As time wore on, food dwindled, centrally stored. My brother stole half and framed me. Though my parents knew the truth, they colluded with him. The tour group expelled us, and I was ultimately ostracized and driven out. I pleaded desperately, yet was shoved out the door by those dearest to me. I clutched my mother's hand, only to have her wrench it away. My father gave me a hard push, muttering, "There's no other way, what else can we do? Just leave and don't come back. Who told you to steal? How could your brother ever steal?" Even my younger brother glared at me viciously, saying, "You'd be better off dead. Then all the money would be mine." My parents clearly heard his words but said nothing, instead cruelly pushing me away. In that moment I realized I had never belonged in this family. I was merely a tool. I had sent them money, cared for them, and paid my brother's tuition, all my own fault. I had thought their unkindness stemmed from poverty. When I was lucky enough to win the lottery, I immediately told them and took them on a trip, only to discover they had long coveted my money, even willing to send me to my death. They had never loved me at all. In the end, I froze to death in a blizzard not far from the hotel. At the thought of this, the last traces of familial affection I had for my parents vanished entirely. The lottery money was mine and I would use it well. The villa I rented was not overly large but sufficient. In the following days I hired someone to clean the house, reinforce the doors and windows, and bought numerous daily necessities. All kinds of vegetables, fruits, and meats were stored in my large fridge and freezer. Pure water filled an entire room. Knowing power outages were likely during blizzards, I first bought a large number of power banks, then several battery-powered appliances and plenty of batteries. Not feeling secure, I also purchased generators. As a precaution, I prepared matches and candles, along with small sun heaters, hand warmers, and every possible heating device. Even if the heating failed, I would not freeze to death. The once empty rooms were now fully stocked, giving me a great sense of security. Looking at these supplies, I knew I could survive 2 months of blizzard. 3 days later, I received a call from my mother. As soon as she jiatong, she barked furiously. "Xiao Pan, what's going on? Why hasn't anyone come to pick you up yet? Did you fail to register? Just like last time, always late. Even when it's not your fault, you're to blame." Before I could respond, the phone was snatched by my father, who snorted and shouted, "Cuckoo! Do you not want us to come and just want to enjoy the money alone?" I held the phone away from my ear, overwhelmed by the noise. "Wait, I think." Before I could finish, my mother said, "The car's here, though it's late." Then the line went dead. As always, they only contacted me when they needed something. I lung shall ed and took another bite of my iced watermelon, checking the date. 4 days until the blizzard. This time I would send them to the Arctic. After all, I'd booked them a luxury package, draining their savings and even adding some of mine. Was this filial piety? Before finishing the watermelon, I received another call from my mother, her joy palpable through the phone. "Xiao Pan, you really splurged. We told you to save money for Rongja. This is too much." Though she complained, I knew she was delighted. I played the dutiful daughter. "It's nothing, just my way of being filial. I can always earn more." Through the phone, I heard my father and brother exclaiming in surprise, as if they'd forgotten cursing me earlier. "Good. Focus on working and earning money. Your brother will need it for marriage." She hung up cheerfully, using my money for a trip while ordering me to slave for their son. How ridiculous. I'd been a fool before, clinging to family love. Never again. My remaining emotions had frozen to death in that blizzard. The next day, 3 days before the blizzard, my parents and brother were still cheerful. That night, my mother video called me, her face Xin-chan. "Aren't you at work? Where are you?" "On a business trip. My company booked a hotel." She'd seen the bed behind me, not a desk. Her expression softened slightly but remained displeased. "Xiao Pan, look at the rubbish you packed. Arctic is freezing. You think sweaters and down jackets are enough? Useless. Transfer money now for professional gear." So they just wanted money. "I'll send it later, my boss is calling." I hung up quickly. If they wanted me to work endlessly, I'd use being busy as an excuse. When I didn't transfer money, the calls came non-stop. Each time I pleaded work, and after just 2 times they exploded. On video, my father shouted, red-faced, cigarette in hand. "Wasted our effort raising you. Should have drowned you at birth. Transfer money now. You won the lottery. Don't lie about being broke. That money belongs to this family." My mother chimed in. "Selfish. We raised you for nothing." My brother patted my father's back. "Dad, don't get angry. Sister's just greedy." Their words left me cold, but I forced tears. "I'm sorry, brother, I've been swamped. I'll transfer it tomorrow." I sent a few hundred yuan, then muted my phone and slept. The next day was the blizzard start. I woke at noon to heavy snow and dozens of missed calls from my parents. As soon as I answered, curses poured in. "You tricked us. Just a few hundred? Trying to freeze us to death, you ungrateful wretch." Over my father's yelling, I heard my mother grumble. "Ruined our trip. Who knew it'd snow like this? You watched me freeze to death last time and felt nothing," I thought, but feigned concern. "That's all I had left yesterday. I'll earn more after this business trip. Making excuses came easily now. We're stuck. No thanks to you. I opened the curtain, snow was falling harder. I'll deal with it later, I lied, hanging up. I checked the tour group chat. My father was ranting about canceled plans. They should be grateful they weren't outside. By afternoon, Snowjinlingdonshin arrived. News reported global blizzards. Countries began preparing. Wondering about my parents, I video called. How's it going? The snow might not stop soon. My mother, wrapped in the down jacket I'd packed, snapped. Why didn't you stop us from coming? Boring here and trapped. You're living comfortably while we suffer. Never mind, they'd insisted on the trip. Everything was my fault. Don't worry, there must be a way. I showed them my villa. Look, I bought this for you. This room's for you and Dad, that's for brother. At house, her face lit up. Not bad, this'll be perfect for your brother's wedding. The whole family crowded around, eager to see more. I didn't mind the pretense. After showing it to them, my parents and younger brother were grinning from ear to ear, each chattering about which room to occupy and how to decorate, while also nitpicking what I'd arranged. Father didn't scold me for past incidents. Instead, he praised my capability, saying they'd move in upon their return and hire several nannies, naturally at my expense. Their fantasies were lovely, but they'd never set foot in this villa. Now that the blizzard was in full force, the supplies I'd stockpiled finally came in handy. When the weather turned cold, one craved hot pot, so I prepared tripe, lamb rolls, bean curd sheets, and various favorite dishes, eating while watching TV. There were already news reports of people freezing to death. Just then, I opened the tour group chat and found many already panicking, but the group leader had gone silent. Everyone was furious, yet the original leader no longer spoke. My phone rang, it was Mother calling. This time, she was far less spirited than when viewing the house, her voice weaker, clearly suffering a rheumatism flare-up. Xiaopan, why didn't you pack my rheumatism patches? She snapped. I swallowed a mouthful of tripe before replying. I did. Did you not find them? They're in the suitcase. Of course I hadn't packed them. In my past life, I'd pitted Mother and packed not just rheumatism patches but all manner of warm items, fearing her rheumatism might act up. Yet she dismissed what I brought as useless, still complaining of Daetung and calling me thoughtless, unlike my brother who knew how to take care of people. Though all he'd done was bring her a few glasses of hot water while she lay in bed. I've searched every corner. There's no sign of them. You just don't care about your mother, she wailed. It's killing me. With a rheumatic condition, she'd insisted on going to a cold place, and now with the blizzard, she deserved it. I offered a few words of comfort, telling my brother to apply hot compresses. Father had always been waited on by Mother. Now that I, the only other caretaker, was gone, he could only rely on my brother. But I knew my brother's temper, and Mother coddled him too much to make him do anything. This time, Mother would have to fend for herself. Hanging up, I picked up a piece of shrimp paste and ate it. I'd forgotten to pack Mother's rheumatism patches, but for Father, the old smoker, I'd packed plenty of cigarettes. In my past life, he brought his own even if I didn't pack them. This time, I took the initiative. With cigarettes, Father's days trapped in the hotel might be more bearable. I monitored the tour group chat daily. Someone had already asked about snacks. For now, some were still willing to share, but that might not last. After all, in such circumstances, food was a matter of life and death. No one would hesitate to survive, even at others' expense. Recently, my parents had rarely contacted me, but I still chose to reach out, curious to know how things were progressing. I made a video call, feigning concern. Hello, Mom. How are things there? How dare you call? Mother snapped, her hair disheveled, wincing in pain from her toy tongue. She thrust the phone at Father, unwilling to speak to me. Father was smoking, with countless cigarette butts strewn beside him. The moment he saw me, his face contorted with anger. What kind of tour did you book? We can't leave and supplies are running out. He took a deep drag, coughed twice and snarled. You're over there eating like nothing's wrong. I deliberately skipped a proper meal that day, just having instant noodles for show, but merely eating was now my fault. How could that be, Dad? This was the best tour group I specially chose. I continued to play innocent, feigning ignorance. Fix this now. Get us out of here. He coughed violently, passing the phone to my brother. My brother cursed at me and hung up immediately. The blizzard had lasted a week with no sign of letting up. During this time, I'd stopped calling my parents, only Fuyan responding to their calls, and later stopped answering altogether. Still, I kept a close eye on the tour group messages, which had descended into chaos. The leader had left the group, and everyone was complaining about when they could leave and the lack of food. The chat had devolved from initial friendliness and mutual aid into constant shouting. Nothing like the beginning. Now, another argument had erupted, with all blame shifting to my brother. After scrolling through endless chat logs, I finally learned he'd stolen a young girl's food, and my parents were defending him, arguing with others. Father's harsh words came through in a stream of long voice messages, with mother chiming in. At first, some had spoken up for my brother, considering him a child, but my parents' excessive coddling, unable to bear any slight to him, had led them to insult everyone, alienating the entire group. Before I could respond to the messages, mother called again. No doubt about this. As soon as I answered, her shouting filled the line. Xiaopan, what awful tour group did you pick? The people here have no manners. Your brother took one piece of candy, and they've been scolding him non-stop. We're starving. I'm going to starve to death. Through the phone, I could hear my brother whining in the background, no doubt throwing another tantrum on the floor. I don't care, fix this now, she ranted before hanging up, surely going to comfort my brother. I considered it and transferred some money to mother, texting, Mom, I can't do much. Take this money to see if you can buy or trade for food. With money you won't go hungry. There's always food to buy somewhere. Before I could send the message, the transfer showed as completed. They were truly impatient. Money was useful, but what good was it on a remote island? The tour I'd booked had many activities on a newly developed island this year. The island was nicely built but isolated, touting itself as close to nature. Transportation and supply delivery were difficult. Even with money, buying things was hard, especially now. While I lived comfortably in my villa, keeping an eye on the tour group chat, occasional messages popped up asking if anyone had extra food, but no one was being kind anymore. Father had asked multiple times, and I knew they were completely out of food and starting to starve. But my brother couldn't go hungry. Who knew what my parents would do? Based on what I knew of them, they'd surely find a way to get food for their son, but that was no concern of mine. 4 or 5 days passed without contact until one day, while I was cooking, Father called, but it wasn't his voice on the other end. My brother was sobbing. Esses, what do I do? Help! His voice trembled, tears dawned sheer as if traumatized. It's okay, take your time, I said. Dad is dead. His death came as welcome news, though I feigned shock, eager to uncover the details. My brother's sobs revealed the truth. A stolen loaf of bread had sparked a fight with a volatile man. Father, weakened by incessant coughing, had struggled to defend his precious son, and lost the brutal altercation. How fitting, I thought, this devoted father, who'd left me to freeze, now perished for his golden child. It'll be all right, I murmured, staring at the snow-blanketed window. The tour group chat fell silent, Kongjir lingering like a shadow. No one dared provoke the killer in their midst. Mother's call that night was predictable. I answered, greeted by her gaunt, wild-eyed face. You cursed wretch. Your father's dead because of your greed, she shrieked. I didn't force you onto that island, I snapped, finally confronting her. Her stunned horror, eyebrows raised, lips parted, was almost comical, but I hung up, done with her lies. Let her rage. The storm would soon end her reign. A week later, the blizzard subsided. Rescue teams scoured the island, and news of the tour group trickled in. Half survived, most by violence. When I learned my brother lived, I rushed to the hospital, dabbing fake tears. Rongja, thank God you're alive, I wailed, collapsing dramatically at his bedside. The act continued through grief counseling and corpse identification, until doctors revealed his trauma-induced psychosis. He babbled of monsters eating people, cowering in the blood-stained sheets. I knew the truth. He'd likely joined the cannibalism that tore the group apart. Discharging him to a psychiatric ward, I visited rarely, ignoring pleas that he refused food. When staff begged me to intervene, I spoon-fed him coldly, only to have him slap the bowl away, screaming. Starve then, I hissed, recalling his childhood cruelty, how he'd beaten me for sport, how our parents had laughed. His trauma was karma, not pity. His suicide weeks later was met with public sorrow and my private relief. At his funeral, I wore pallid makeup, sobbing loudly for the cameras. Alone at last, I returned to my villa, pouring a glass of wine as the sun set. The past was a bad debtor, the future mine to rebuild. Family, I realized, is not blood, it's choice. And I choose to live unburdened, finally free of their poison. The end.